Hello and welcome to the Mill. I am your host, Dusty Crane, and this week I thought we would catch up a little bit, talk about the August 2022 e-newsletter from Stonemaier, the Rolling Realms promo that was just revealed, but not for sale just yet, and Gen Con. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Feels like it's been a very long time for me since I've been in front of the camera, but it's only been a few weeks still. Let's go ahead and get to it. So the main headline or the main topic, and I'm going to try and mute things before I forget. The main topic in the e-newsletter this month was Jamie went ahead and showed off another bird card from Wingspan Asia, and that card was the red-crowned crane. No relation. But the cool thing about this red-crowned crane is when Wingspan first came out, a Chinese localization partner for Stonemaier Games asked if they could make a promo card for, their expansion. And at the time, according to Jamie in the latest Stonemaier Games Wednesday live stream, at the time, Stonemaier Games was kind of stepping away from promos. And so Jamie didn't really think anything of it and said, yeah, sure, go ahead. And they went ahead and created a red-crowned crane themselves and made that available. And completionists being what they are, what we are, I'm going to be honest with you here, we're really wanting that card themselves. Well, that was really just a pre-order bonus, and so those cards didn't continue in production as it is my understanding, but now the non-Chinese language have Wingspan folks have a red crown crane of their own, and this one will also be in the Chinese edition of Wingspan. However, the promo that was made by the localization partner was just one they threw together. It wasn't made by Elizabeth, and this one was. Now, Jamie talked about the power that it has being a pretty cool one, because this card has a when played power of when you play it, you can go ahead and take one of your bonus cards and score them immediately. And how you do that is you just go ahead and see whatever points they're eligible for at that point. You cash food from the supply on the card itself, discard that bonus card, and draw another one. So you have another opportunity to earn some more points by a bonus card. On top of that, there are more cards to be previewed here. Now, Jamie, up to now has been doing a monthly cadence. As we get closer and closer to that Q4 release date, Jamie's going to start showing them off in other places too, including his Instagram, including the Wingspan Facebook group, including the Stonemaier Discord, and according to the newsletter, even right here on the Mill. So I'm not sure when that's going to be. I'd asked Jamie for the opportunity, and he said, he'd consider it. So obviously, he thought it was an okay idea. I just don't have any details. I do not have my not review copy yet, but I would imagine that's coming soon as well. But that was the big news in the newsletter in terms of, Wingspan. We also, I don't remember if all of this is in the newsletter, but Viticulture World has officially come to retail. So if you pre-ordered your copy from your friendly local game store, hopefully they reached out to you, let you know that was available, or, you were there on day one just waiting for it. One of the two. In any case, along with the release to retail, Viticulture World also became available digitally from Tabletopia.com. So if you use Tabletopia.com, you can go ahead and go out there and give that a shot. Now, it does look like it falls under the premium tier of their subscription, so you will neither need a subscription yourself or someone with one to invite you to a game, but that is available to you. Let's go ahead and talk about that progress chart, shall we? Wingspan Asia has moved into freight shipping, which means those are on their way to us. Tapestry Expansion 3 has made a ton of progress, and it is now in print and assemble, and the progress chart actually shows it as a Q1, Q2 2023 title. So based on looks of the chart, I would have to imagine that will be the first thing we see from Stonemaier in 2023. But, of course, all things are subject to change. Everything more or less hung out where it was last month, with the exception of Codename Fire, which began development and blind playtesting. Now, one bit of Rolling Realms news before we get on to talking about Gen Con, and that is, may remember last month, Jamie revealed in his Rolling Realms Game 30 playthrough that one of the upcoming promos was going to be non-Stonemaier title A Feast for Odin. Well, he also just recently showed us another promo that is a non-Stonemaier title that is coming at some point here pretty soon to Rolling Realms, and that one is Honeybuzz. So let me know in the comments what you think a Honeybuzz Rolling Realms promo realm will look like, and I'm looking forward to hearing what thoughts you have on it. Now I want to talk a bit about Gen Con, and I didn't actually put any notes together for this because I kind of wanted to just shoot from the hip. I have a couple of bullets written down here, but let's talk about Gen Con 55. I was there working with MeepleSource, since MeepleSource and Stonemaier Games actually, they cooperate and have a booth there. I think it's a MeepleSource booth, and Stonemaier helps out in terms of, providing some product, providing some resources in the form of ambassadors, and that's how I got there this year. In years past, I've worked with Van Ryder Games, which are an awesome group of guys, but with the existence of the mill, it just kind of made sense to try and see if there was anything Stonemaier adjacent that I could assist with. And so MeepleSource was kind enough to allow me to volunteer, and it was really cool. The highlight of, at least one of the highlights of the show as it relates to involvement with that booth, was they had a pre-production copy of the Wingspan nesting box. Now, I just randomly popped a video up last week, or, I guess it was last week. Time, let me tell you, when you're recovering from Gen Con, time gets a little crazy, I guess. Everything is last week or whatever. In any case, I just randomly popped in a video of Wingspan nesting box. I actually did an unboxing. I did apologize for the audio. However, some people were like, I was there, it was so loud, it sounds so good. So full admission, I totally cheated because I had an exhibitor's badge. I waited until the hall closed, and after the people filed out, I had an opportunity to shoot that unboxing. So if you haven't seen it, I'll put a link to that in the comments, but based on the view numbers on that video, I think a lot of people have seen it. So it was a lot of fun to show that off and, kind of give people a tour of the box. It was kind of a neat experience. In terms of stuff you could actually buy there, though, I think the highlight for me was actually being able to introduce people to Mahir, who designed or was a co-designer on Viticulture World. He was actually there in the booth showing off the game, like just a heck of a salesperson, and on top of obviously a talented designer, because so many of these reviews are coming in for Viticulture World, and I've yet to see one that has anything negative to say. Like, it seems like people are really enjoying what Viticulture World brings to viticulture, and even though it really does a pivot going from a competitive game to a cooperative game, it seems to be going over really well. And I couldn't be happier for Mahir, because he was such a great representative of the title. I mean, of course it's his, but I mean, you can tell that he has a lot of passion for viticulture, the base game, period. And obviously the love of the title actually shows in the expansion he helped design. So it was really cool meeting him in person. We've talked in online for a while, but it was really nice meeting him. It was really nice meeting all of the MeepleSource folks there. They're hardworking, incredible, kind people, and I couldn't be happier for their continued success in it, and I hope that continues for years to come. They also afforded me the ability to take my son to this Gen Con. He worked as a Stonemaier ambassador at the table. And if you had an opportunity to go to Gen Con and swung by our booth, and there's a younger guy at the demo tables, then that might have been Josh. At one point, this may sound a little self-serving, but I assure you it isn't. At one point, Josh was demoing, showing off Wingspan, or actually, I think he was technically doing what we call floating, which was, some people are assigned to the tables, and some people are just assigned to, if somebody has to, use the restroom, or they need to step up and get out of the booth for a minute, the floater will then go ahead and take their spot and afford them the ability to do that. And at one point, Josh was floating, and someone walked up and was kind of checking things out, and he says, oh man, I love Stonemaier Games, and my wife hates my hobby, but I love Stonemaier Games. And my son Josh, points to me, and he goes, his wife hates his hobby too. And the guy looks over, and granted, we're in N95 masks, and the guy looks over and he goes, hey, that's a YouTube guy, isn't it? And my son goes, yeah, he's the mill. And the guy, he seemed to light up, and it seemed exciting to him, and he goes, and he came over, he immediately came over, and we started chit-chatting a little bit, and I gotta say, that was one of the highlights of my Gen Con, not because that he recognized me, but that, all too often I'm sitting here and I'm just talking to my phone to a camera, and this guy seemed legitimately excited to talk to me. And he was wearing a veteran's hat, and I was legitimately excited to talk to him because we just started talking things Stonemaier, and he didn't know that Mahir was the designer of Viticulture World, so I took him over there and introduced him to Mahir, and we thanked him for his service. But I know in the past, I have told you guys, if there's a content creator or somebody making something that you love, let them know, because all too often we hear criticism. We don't often hear compliments, not anywhere near that same volume, which is a bummer. But I'm just that guy made my Gen Con, but just a sweet guy. He loves Stonemaier Games, and so it was really cool to meet him. And if you happen to be watching this, I'm so glad we got to meet. Thank you for your kindness, for the nice words you said about the mill. I know Mahir was happy to meet you too, and you really made an impact on us. So thank you so much. Speaking of Mahir, one of the things that Mahir is humble. I won't say to a fault, but very humble. He showed up to Gen Con as a designer with no Sharpie. I mean, that's I don't know what you would call that, but he was of the opinion that his name didn't, even though he co-designed the game, that he didn't need to be signing autographs because, who would want one? But in any case, as it turns out, quite a few people did. In fact, I would regularly use that as a sales tactic, just saying, hey, if someone's interested in it and they're thinking about it, I goes, well, listen, just so you know, if this affects your decision making at all, or if you're just unsure of what the expansion has and you want to learn a little bit more about it, the guy who designed it is sitting right over there. And if you happen to like what you see, and if you end up picking up a copy, he will happily, embarrassed to sign that for you. And so I made sure that Mahir had a Sharpie so that he could sign those, and we sent over so many wine crates, so many copies of Viticulture World. It was really wild. And in terms of one of the cool experiences I had doing demos was I actually met somebody who, they come to the table and I'm like, hey, are you familiar with viticulture? Because I have to make sure they're familiar with viticulture before I explain viticulture world, right? And they said, yeah, actually I had viticulture was the cake topper at our wedding. And, so I kind of leaned in and I goes, well, then why don't you guys tell me about viticulture? And it was so cool. Like, if you didn't attend Gen Con and you only check social media, you might have seen apparently there was some bad behavior by media. Apparently there was, some bad stuff that happened. But, man, in the MeepleSource booth, in the MeepleSource Stonemaier booth, like it just felt like so much joy. Like to be completely honest with you, I really struggled this Gen Con. I've gone, several years in the past. The first, when COVID hit, they closed down Gen Con, and then last year Gen Con was on, but it was a massed event, and a lot of people, at least the people that I regularly volunteer with, weren't going to be in attendance, and I certainly wouldn't have been ready. And this year, I thought I was in an okay place to attend the event, and for the most part, I think I did okay. But what I found at the end of every day was I was just kind of exhausted. I felt like, especially when you're demoing and when you're showing off things and you're talking all day long. And at least for me, who's naturally more introverted, it was far more difficult this year, and it wasn't just the fact that we were wearing masks, which certainly doesn't make talking all day any easier. Thankfully, MeepleSource had the presence of mind to bring some mic packs, so we had microphones on. It was easy to hear us, I think, but. At the end of the day, it was like the hall closed, and that's usually when, at least if you're, an exhibitor, that's your opportunity to play games. I just needed to get out of there. I just needed to get back to my room, grab a bite to eat with my son and get back to the room and just relax. And the first day we had a couple of events scheduled, and I had to be like, I just can't, and canceled those. And which was fine because the first day was very, very overwhelming. But I just want to say, if you happen to go, or if you're perhaps attending another convention and you are concerned about the crowds, you're not alone. I think the important thing to do is just recognize, like, I wish I'd kind of known that was how it was going to be going in. For me, I couldn't have prepared, really. Like I said, I thought I was ready, and it turned out that I wasn't quite there. I was good for the hall hours. And then towards the end of it, like Wednesday, we went ahead and, Saturday. Sheesh. Saturday, we did go, and I had to play Elizabeth Hargrave's new game that's coming out by Pandasaurus called The Fox Experiment. That was really cool. I really enjoyed that. And then I also and then we just stayed in the Pandasaurus room and played Wild Style, which was a pretty cool game. But, I guess I would just recommend, that, show yourself a little grace, and just know that it may surprise you how either ready or unready you are, and that's okay in either case. But if you did attend, I hope you're doing well. I know there's a lot of media personalities I've seen on Twitter and folks that just attended or exhibited that have come back with COVID. I know there's at least a case or two of COVID that came out of the MeepleSource booth and Stonemaier booth, the volunteers there. So of course I'm wishing them a quick and a quick recovery. It seems to just be a lot of just tired and run down, which honestly, after Gen Con, especially if you're not used to those crowds, that could honestly be a part of it, because so far I've tested negative, my son's tested negative. We're doing okay. I did have yesterday, I was like, was like 7 o'clock. I was ready to go to bed, which is pretty rare, but otherwise, I've been feeling pretty good. So I know there was a lot of people. So if you also, I guess even if you didn't attend Gen Con either, if you're sick at the moment, or I hope you have a full recovery. And honestly, there's, I don't know why I didn't mention this at the top, because at this point I've rambled so much you guys have probably checked out, which I understand. But MeepleSource went ahead and put together a really nice video. It was Cynthia put together footage that was taken during Gen Con. If you're curious about the way the hall looks beforehand, how it all comes together, what it actually feels like, I guess, to be an exhibitor there, and just kind of see the joy of the team and the volunteers that are around you, check out that video for MeepleSource. I'll throw a link in the comments, and just a huge thanks to everyone that was at Gen Con, from the MeepleSource team, from the Stonemaier team. What a group! What a absolutely fabulous bunch of folks that really shared the joy of the hobby, and I hope brought a lot of smiles to faces. And I swear, every single year I leave Gen Con, my nose is itching now. Every single year I leave Gen Con, and I'm like, that was it. That was my last Gen Con. And honestly, even 9 months in, it's about the time where, people start reaching out again and finding out if you're interested in volunteering again. And even at that point, I've been like on the fence, not exactly sure how I'd answer. And I don't know if it was just the fact that I felt more in my element, knowing as much as I do about Stonemaier Games, or if it was having my son there. But whatever the case was, is I found myself just this past week, maybe a couple days ago at this point, writing a post and kind of summarizing some Gen Con thoughts. I think I was showing off my haul, and I said the show, the crew, everyone I worked with, the volunteers, 10 out of 10 would do it again. And I sat back for a second and I thought, and I was like, do I mean that? Like, every year I'm like, this was the last Gen Con. And after the first day where my son was just completely overwhelmed, and this was before Gen Con started, we got there on Wednesday, and we're going and we're picking up our tickets, and we're picking up our, we're doing our vaccine check to make sure that we have all our paperwork in order, and doing all these things. And, just kind of the little bit of panic in his eyes, like, what did I sign up for? But then Thursday, man, I'm going to do the proud dad thing here for a minute. One thing he did that made me proud, that honestly I wonder if he got from me or I got from him, was every person that walked by, when he wasn't actively doing something, if he liked their shirt or their backpack or their pins or their cosplay, whatever it was, like if he saw something that somebody had put some effort into, or indicate that there was some indication that it was a matter of pride, and he liked that thing too, as he told him. And it's like, oh, hey, I love your shirt, or hey, that pin is awesome, where'd you get that? Is that at one of these booths? Whatever it was, like, I feel like it kind of spread throughout the booth. I think I certainly caught myself complimenting people more just on his example, and I think Mahir had started doing it too, and it kind of does something to you too, like you see the happiness that recognition elicits, and you just want to keep it going. And so I think that was another one of my highlights, was having that experience with him, and learning from him the power that even just a compliment carries. And so yeah, I'm real proud of him. And if you happen to demo with him, I hope you got a little bit of that positivity too, or there's the actual still from the MeepleSource video is him teaching, and like my daughters and my wife, were watching this video, and I goes, you can tell he's into it. He's gesturing, his eyebrows are up. He's really emphasizing what he's talking about, and it was cool to see him in that element. That's not something we always get to see as parents. Somebody like as worried as he seemed at the first day, by the end of it, even by the end of the first day, it was just his natural habitat, and it was awesome. So yeah, Gen Con 55, man, for the first time, got me thinking this early that Gen Con 56 is a possibility. And one lesson I did learn too is it's kind of hard, because like as an IT security, like I think in terms of don't tell people you're going, but at the same time, there's people here, but I don't want people knowing that I'm not in the house. But I did end up missing some people that I would like to have met. Who I did meet though that was really cool was Tim, who does the photography for Stonemaier Games. He does photography for everyone, but he's recently done like some lifestyle shots. If you've seen the pictures of the recent pictures of Wingspan or Viticulture World, was him. He did some Viticulture World pictures. He did some Wingspan lifestyle pictures. He's done some Red Rising lifestyle pictures. But Tim Chuan, just a remarkable talent, and I told him, and also just a super nice guy. So it was nice to meet him. I met one of the developers from Wingspan Digital Edition. Super cool. Like everybody there. I finally got to meet Suzanne from Stonemaier Games in person. Susanna in person. I got to meet. I've met Alex before, but it was good to see him again. Yeah, if you like board games, man, see if you have it in you to attend a convention nearby. Like, you're not always going to have, I guess, whatever your board game royalty company, whatever it is, whatever company you love, not necessarily always going to be at every convention there. But there's just something about being surrounded by other people that love what you love. And yeah, it was a good year. It was a good year for Gen Con. Let me know if you went. Let me know if if there's anything that you from your hey, let me know what your favorite titles that you picked up were, or what you heard about Gen Con that looked fun, that you got to experience, or that you wish you would have been able to experience. And then finally, because wow, this is long, and then finally, if they're coming up here on the 200th episode of The Mill, we're very close now, and I'm going to sit down and have a conversation with Jamie again, like we did for the 100th episode. And so let me know if you have any questions you want me to throw by him. Of course, he's not going to give up any spoilers, so don't ask me to ask him about code names. But if you have any questions, it's weird, I know, because I know that he's readily available and every week at that. So if you've had any questions for him, you've probably asked. But if you have anything that you would like me to ask him, then let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I think I have a couple of fun questions that I'm gonna spring on him, and we'll see what comes of that. And then I will maybe toss a little hint your way and tell you that the video will air just prior to Stonemaier's celebrating their 10-year anniversary. We may have something surprising for you. I don't know what that is yet, but Jamie did mention, hey, if we do it this week, then we can also do this before we send out the newsletter. And so might be a fun one to check in on. So that one's coming up, and it won't be next week, but I'll let you know when that is. It might be the week after. It's the last week before September, so we got a couple weeks. In any case, thank you for letting me ramble on about Gen Con. Let me tell you about what an awesome team MeepleSource and Stonemaier have assembled, in addition to bragging on my son and just sharing the Stonemaier news with you. It is a legitimate pleasure. I know that some weeks this can feel like work, but more often than not, it's just a joy to have these conversations with you here. The Stonemaier Discord has been a really cool place to have conversations about Stonemaier Games, in addition to the Facebook groups. So I'm wanting more of those this year. I'm wanting to be more intentionally involved with the community. And I guess if you're still around, and if you've seen any really cool fan projects lately, let me know. I want to take a look at something really cool that's put together by the fans, especially because the really cool stuff in the past has somehow turned into an actual product. So, maybe we'll get a peek at something beforehand. That'd be cool. At this point, I'm just rambling, and I did enough talking at Gen Con and enough just now. So, until next time, thank you so much for watching. Please take care of yourself and each other.